Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Jake Gordon and Alex Lord. The Braves are wrapped up their series with the Mets. It was a series victory, but it came with a very awkward moment in the first inning of yesterday's doubleheader, the second game. Ronald Acuna was hit on the back. He went down in a ton of pain. Looked really bad because it's one of those spots where you're hit on the back and you're like, that should be fine, right? Back, shoulder. Like if you're going to be hit, that's where you want to be hit. But he goes down in a ton of pain, has to leave the game. The Braves lose. But really, the result doesn't matter. It was all eyes on what happened with Ronald Acuna. Thankfully, it looks like it's just a bruise. He'll probably play at some point in the Miami series, and the Braves avoided disaster because the guy is on an MVP tear. Also want to shout out Sean Murphy. He's also on an MVP tear. But I want to ask the question, because this is the big storyline following the doubleheader. Do you think the hit from Tylor Megill on Ronald Acuna was on purpose?
No. I think he was trying to go inside, and I don't think you should go inside if your command's that poor, but I don't think it was intentional. It happens sometimes, and I saw somebody point to the fact that 3 Mets got hit in the game before. 2 of those were off the foot. I think those were also unintentional. I think it was just something that was happening that day. And yeah, hopefully, there were no fractures on Ronald, and hopefully he just didn't feel like playing a full 18. And he flew with the team to Miami, and hopefully Iglesias is behind him. I would love to have both of those guys down there. I'll probably give him the day off, but I could see him back on Wednesday, maybe even Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, it's more just Megill sucks. It's not like they weren't like intentionally trying to hurt Ronald. And I get, he had that moonshot in game 1 that was closer to 500 feet than 400 feet. I get all that. He's a, flamboyant baseball player. He's eccentric. It's all the reasons we love him. Other teams hate him. We love him. If you're a baseball fan, you love Ronald Acuna Jr. You don't want to see him out. You don't want to see any great player hurt. It was an 0-2 count. It was if it was intentional, I think we could all, say it was going to be the first pitch. It was just Megill sucks. I mean, that's it. Pitchers are going to pitch Acuna inside. He crowds the plate. This is bound to happen. And for all the people who are saying, don't pitch him inside if you can't control it, that's ridiculous. I mean, you might not be able to execute. No, I know, but you're not the only one. I saw people in my comments trying to say, like, if you can't execute a pitch, don't even try it. And that is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. That, like, this guy's wide open in the middle of the field, so you decide not to pass to him because you're not really great throwing over the middle. No, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It was an 0-2 count. You try and pitch him inside, and they fucked up. I mean, it's that simple. We move on. Thankfully, it's not serious. Ronald Acuna is going to get hit again. I promise, guys. And it's not on Brian Snitker to come out and defend him. I mean, it's just baseball. It's just baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go attack this from 2 different angles. One, it wasn't intentional because look at everything for the reasons it wouldn't be intentional. The Mets are in the second half of a doubleheader. They just pitched a bullpen game. Do you really think they were going to send out Tylor Megill in the first inning to plunk Ronald Acuna? That is the most absurd thing. Now add into the fact it was an 0-2 count. Add into the fact that the Mets are trailing in the division by 4 games. And they have Matt Olson, who's one of the league leaders in home runs, Austin Riley, who absolutely terrorizes the Mets over the course of his career. He's like Chipper Jones when it comes to that. And Sean Murphy, who just hit 2 3-run homers. So they're going to just let the leadoff man get on base when you're up 0-2 in the account. When you're trailing by 4 games in the division.
Who leads the league in steals?
It's just an absolutely absurd thing to say. And I get everyone wants to be emotional and stuff like that, but it just didn't happen. The guy just made a bad pitch and he got hit. And from the Braves' perspective, what's Brian Snitker going to do? Just start this fight and get guys suspended? He also just pitched a lot of guys in the bullpen because Spencer Strider could only go 5 innings. He's on a doubleheader. The Braves are have 15 games in the next 14 days or 14 games in the next 13 days. You want to just go out there and get guys suspended? It's so stupid to just be like, we should retaliate. It was definitely on purpose. It wasn't on purpose. And another aspect, guys, as much as I hate the Mets, and I'm the leader of the riot when it comes to the Mets and the Braves, I love it. That's what rivalries are supposed to do. The rivalry is between the fans. Like, we hate Met fans. The players do not all just hate each other. Like, Ronald Acuna and Brandon Nimmo are out there joking in game 1 after Nimmo threw back to second base and Ronald Acuna was on the back. They're both laughing at each other. Lindor and Acuna are friends. Eddie Rosario and Lindor played on the same WBC team in Puerto Rico. These guys do not hate each other. They're not just out there trying to hurt Ronald Acuna. And they also, most of the players, when you hear them talk and stuff, love what Ronald's doing. They love the showboating. They want it to be a part of the game. They think he's helping the game. They do not hate Ronald Acuna. He hits a 500-foot blast. He's allowed to run around the bases any way he wants. If he wants to take 45 seconds, he can do that. And it's absurd from all angles. There's 0% chance. 0% chance. And I know people get emotional about these things. And listen, if you want to throw inside on somebody and just like send a little bit message back like, hey, that's our guy, like that's fine, whatever. But to get overly emotional and be like, that is 100% on purpose. The Mets are a classless organization. You're just an idiot. You're an idiot and you don't know baseball at all. And I saw so many people, not just random fans on Twitter or on Facebook, so many people that like are sports analysts who clearly just have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to baseball, just hammering their fists like, we got to go out there and fight. Like, shut up. You sound like an idiot. You sound like an idiot from all angles. It wasn't intentional. You can't go out there and fight. You can't risk getting guys suspension. You have 162 games. You focus on the baseball game at hand. You try to win it and you move on to the next game and hope Ronald's okay. It's just absurd from all angles to think, yep, the Mets are willingly just going to let this guy get on base in front of their three best hitters and go down 3-0 when they're 4 games back in the division. Shut up. Shut up.
Yeah, and I mean it's okay to be mad, but there's not always a place where you can like direct your anger towards. Like, I mean, if it was truly an accident, which like I said, we all think it was, I mean, yeah, it's okay to be mad. I was pissed that he got hit. That's normal. But it doesn't mean you immediately have to just start like a witch hunt to be like, who are we going to get over this whole situation? Like, that's just not how it always works.
I'd be willing to bet half of the people who are outraged and, think it's intentional, if they could throw, Charlie Morton 96-mile-an-hour fastball and they were in there and they had it and they were going to throw it at a guy, they wouldn't. They wouldn't, because then once you're in a position to actually hurt a guy with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, you don't have anything and it could potentially hit him in the head. I mean, you're not doing that. We could sit on a couch and be fat and say all these things of how outrageous this was and what we would do and what we wouldn't do. The fact of the matter is, you're not that guy on the mound. You don't have to live with the consequences. So just shut the hell up.
Look at Jacob Webb. That was Kevin Pillar against the Mets. Jacob Webb broke his face. That man was leaking like a faucet. And it was horrible. Like, anybody watching it was like, yeah, this is horrible.
He fell down. He was like, oh my God, what did I do?
And Kevin Pillar came to the Braves. No bad blood. Like, these things happen, man. Like, sometimes a guy gets hit. Some guy loses control. And for you to just start barking because the Mets hit one of our best players. And listen, I'm tired of the Acuna getting hit. It sucks. It sucks because he's already proven to be a little bit injury prone. We can all admit that. And it sucks seeing him go down because he's your best player and he's arguably the best player in I don't even say arguably. He is the best player in the National League and one of the best players in baseball. So, yeah, it sucks. But the only way to get this guy out over the course of his entire career has been pitching him inside. If you let him get his hands extended, it's over. It's a wrap. He's going to hit bombs all over the field. And if you just take away the entire inside half of the plate, he knows you're just going outside, it's over times 10. So you have to live with it. It's going to happen. Like you said, Alex, this isn't the first or the last time Acuna is going to be hit. And you can't just throw at everybody who hits the guy. You just can't.
Yeah, and this isn't the Marlins. This isn't something where it's like, oh, this is Jose Urena clearly intentionally just trying to hit this guy on the hand or, whatever. That was a completely different situation. But yeah, I just think the whole thing is way overplayed. I understand people are pissed because it's something that has happened before and it happens a lot and it has been intentional in the past, but I just don't see how you can look at this and say objectively 100% no doubt in my mind that they did this on purpose. It just doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I just think the whole thing has been way overblown. It's kind of ridiculous.
Another point. Listen, if somebody needs to go out and defend Ronald Acuna, I mean, Snit's gonna do it. Like, that guy has been around baseball his entire life. Nobody knows more about baseball than Brian Snitker. He knows when it's okay to go out there and wring somebody's neck about all these things. Also, Braves country, we don't want to be a classless organization. We want to beat these guys straight up. No excuses, and just beat their asses. Like, who cares? We don't need to get grimy and dirty and start hitting and playing dirty. No, we're going to beat you straight up, and we're going to laugh at you while you complain about it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And Brian Snitker, for as much crap as a lot of people give him about not defending Acuna, and there were points when he was getting hit by the Marlins where you were like, should he come? He actually did. He did after, like, I think the last time, and it ended right there. So it's not like there are moments where he has come out and stood up for Acuna. That was not one of those moments. He did not mean to hit him. It is that simple, guys. Like, there was 0% chance of that.